The Galactic Council sat in silence across its countless chambers, representatives of hundreds of alien species, their eyes fixed on the holographic projection of Earth, the blue planet surrounded by a faint glow of its atmosphere. Below the planet, the fleet of warships hovered ready to strike. Their commanders had issued their orders moments ago. The decision was made. Humanity had grown too fast, too dangerous. It had become an undeniable force in the galaxy, a threat to the delicate balance they had worked so hard to maintain. The Council's leaders, their forms flickering in the ethereal light of the holograms, exchanged glances with expressions of quiet certainty. Humanity's rapid expansion across the stars had raised alarms for decades now. The humans had built ships capable of interstellar travel in less than a century. They had mastered technologies that took other species millennia to understand. And now they were moving into the unknown regions of the galaxy, expanding their influence at an alarming rate. They had found resources and technologies in the deepest corners of space that should have been beyond their reach, yet they claimed them as their own. A soft voice echoed through the chamber. The Council's chairperson, the leader of this vast alliance of species, addressed the gathered representatives with a calm yet firm tone. Humans are no longer just a growing power. They are a destabilizing force. Their unchecked progress threatens to upset everything we've worked to protect. We cannot allow this to continue. Humanity must be contained before it can do irreversible harm. The room fell into murmurs of agreement. The alien species that filled the seats had all seen the potential destruction humanity could unleash. Their technologies were unfamiliar, unpredictable, and as reports came in of their latest developments, it became clear that the humans had surpassed many of the older galactic powers in sheer capability. The Council had discussed this moment for years, debating when the time would come to act against the humans. Many believed it was already too late. The decision was final. The Council would declare war on humanity. The fleets were already en route, ready to strike before humanity had a chance to respond, before they could organize any meaningful resistance. The fleets would orbit Earth and demand surrender. The human governments would have no choice but to submit to the will of the Council or face total annihilation. The chairperson's voice rang out again, echoing through the silent chamber. Let the war be declared. Humanity will be humbled or destroyed. And with that, the order was given. The transmission was sent across the galaxy. Every species, every government now knew that war had come for Earth. On Earth, the news was received as a shock, but it was a shock tempered with disbelief. The global leaders gathered quickly in emergency meetings, discussing the ramifications of the announcement. Many of them thought it was a joke, or perhaps a misunderstanding. But the message was clear. The Galactic Council had declared war on humanity, yet no one on Earth seemed afraid. No one seemed to panic. The media outlets ran stories about the declaration, but the coverage was strangely calm. Analysts speculated and debated the Council's true motives, but none of them seemed concerned in the face of what seemed like an existential threat. Humanity's reaction was as detached as ever. They simply carried on their lives, as if it were just another day. In the days that followed the Galactic Council's declaration of war, humanity's response became the subject of widespread fascination across the galaxy. No one on Earth seemed rattled by the threat or rushed to prepare for battle. Governments carried on as usual. The media continued to broadcast their daily programs. The stock markets fluctuated, but there was no sign of panic, as if the declaration itself had no weight to it. Perhaps it was disbelief at the audacity of the threat, or perhaps the humans had something up their sleeves that the rest of the galaxy didn't understand. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the true preparations were quietly unfolding. The governments of Earth had been planning for this moment in secret for years. Under the surface of everyday life, hidden from the public eye, were entire facilities dedicated to advancing human technology beyond the expectations of the rest of the galaxy. In remote locations scattered across the world, teams of scientists, engineers, and military strategists had been working day and night on projects that pushed the boundaries of known science. Some of these projects were so advanced that they had been hidden even from most of Earth's leadership. The very idea of such power was too dangerous to be shared prematurely with a world unprepared for it. In the largest and most secretive of these facilities, located in the remote deserts of Nevada, the first of many defense systems, was activated, a system designed to counteract the immense firepower of any alien fleet. It was a combination of quantum computing and advanced energy manipulation that could divert entire volleys of plasma fire from warships large enough to wipe out a city with a single blast. Other secret projects were launched across the planet, from nanotech weapons to stealth systems that allowed human vessels to slip through enemy lines undetected. Humanity's greatest weapon, however, was the one that no one saw coming: their minds, their ability to adapt to any challenge, and the uncanny knack for improvisation. As Earth continued to go about its business, the rest of the galaxy watched with increasing confusion. The Galactic Council's spies and informants flooded Earth's information networks in search of signs that humanity was preparing for war, but nothing emerged. There were no large-scale mobilizations, no signs of building fleets, no mad dash to develop weapon systems, nothing to suggest that humanity was taking the threat seriously. And yet, in the shadows, Earth's military leaders began to position themselves into key locations. Strategic strikes had already been planned, and even the civilian population unknowingly played their part with the activation of sleeper cells and covert technologies that were designed to disrupt enemy communications and sabotage any attempt to invade. The human military, which had long been divided into fragmented nations with different ideologies and resources, now united under a singular cause: the preservation of Earth and its place in the galaxy. They formed an alliance of their own called the Earth Coalition, a group of the brightest minds and fiercest fighters from every corner of the planet, all working toward the same goal: to ensure humanity's survival. And they were more than prepared for the war. They had no choice but to fight. As the Galactic Council awaited a reaction from Earth, they began to grow frustrated at humanity's indifference. But deep down, they were beginning to realize that the humans might be more capable than they'd ever believed. There was something about their silence that was more unsettling than any show of force. They had no fear, they had no panic, they were calm, as if they knew something the Council didn't. And the thought sent a shiver through the alien leadership. How could they be so confident if they were truly as unprepared as they appeared? If they were truly powerless, why hadn't they begun to flee or beg for mercy? What was humanity hiding? The moment the Galactic Council's fleets entered Earth's orbit, the first wave of hostilities had begun. Massive warships, more than 100 kilometers long, descended from the void of space, their engines glowing a fierce red as they surrounded the blue planet. The warships were a testament to the advanced technology the Council possessed, their weapon systems capable of vaporizing entire cities with a single blast. This was no ordinary invasion. The Council intended to strike quickly and decisively, to catch humanity off guard, break their spirit, and force them into submission before they could even attempt to defend themselves. The Council's commanders issued their orders with cold precision. Their fleets began to position themselves over the planet's largest cities, readying their weapons to deliver the first strike. The attack was meant to demonstrate the overwhelming power the Council commanded. There would be no room for resistance. Earth's largest metropolises were marked for destruction, and once the attacks were launched, humanity would have no choice but to surrender or face complete annihilation. But as the alien warships opened fire, their weapons targeting Earth's major cities with brilliant beams of energy, the response from Earth was something no one expected. A sudden pulse of light erupted from the surface, an invisible barrier of energy, not seen by the naked eye, but felt across the galaxy. It enveloped the entire planet in an instant, deflecting the first volley of energy weapons with a force so powerful it sent shockwaves through the alien fleet. The aliens' weapons struck the energy shield with a deafening crash, only to be absorbed or redirected, their destructive force dissipating harmlessly into the void of space. The warships, stunned and confused, recalibrated their targeting systems, firing again with renewed fury. Yet each shot met the same result. The shields held firm, and Earth's defenses remained intact. The alien commanders were baffled. They had expected to break the humans immediately, to scatter their defenses and leave them vulnerable. But instead, they faced an impenetrable wall of energy. Back on Earth, the military had watched the invasion unfold with a detached calm. The human governments knew their time had come, but they were more than ready. The defense grid, codenamed Project Horizon, had been in place for years, a series of hidden satellites and ground-based stations designed to detect and intercept any extraterrestrial threat before it could reach the planet's surface. When the first alien ships entered Earth's orbit, the signal had been given, and the network of defense systems activated with flawless precision. The control centers, scattered in underground bunkers across the globe, hummed to life. Human pilots, previously unaware of the true scale of their military's preparations, were now called into action. Dozens of ships, ranging from sleek fighters to enormous capital ships, took off from hidden launch sites, their weapons primed and ready. As Earth's defenses repelled the first alien strike, the human forces retaliated. The skies above the planet were soon filled with human spacecraft. The alien fleet, expecting a swift victory, was instead forced into a chaotic retreat as human ships moved into position. The humans didn't follow the traditional tactics of a full-on battle. They used speed, agility, and unconventional strategies to outmaneuver their adversaries. Using advanced cloaking technology and countermeasures developed in secret, humanity's ships slipped past the alien sensors and delivered precision strikes on critical areas of the alien vessels. The warships, massive and heavily armored, began to buckle under the pressure. Shields flared as the human strikes breached their outer defenses, targeting weak spots with pinpoint accuracy. The alien commanders watched in disbelief as their mighty fleet faltered under the human assault. Their entire plan was unraveling before their eyes. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were making the invaders pay for every inch they tried to take. As the battle raged on in the void above Earth, the Council's forces began to withdraw, their ships retreating to regroup and reconsider their strategy. They had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. On Earth's surface, the people watched in awe as the battle unfolded in the sky, completely unaware of the extent of their military's hidden capabilities. The message from the aliens was clear: humanity was under attack. But for the first time in their history, humanity had shown the galaxy something far more important: the will to fight back. And they had only just begun. In the aftermath of the initial attack, the Galactic Council's fleets regrouped, their commanders furious and confused. The humans had not only withstood the assault, but had turned the tide against them. The Council had expected a swift victory, an overwhelming show of force that would crush humanity's spirit and bring Earth to its knees. Instead, the humans had not only survived but inflicted serious damage on their mightiest warships. They had underestimated the tenacity of Earth's inhabitants, and now they faced a new and unpredictable enemy. The Council's response was swift. They would deploy their most elite warriors, the Xoric Warbringers. Genetically engineered to be the perfect soldiers, the Warbringers were a race of hyper-aggressive beings, physically superior to almost every species in the galaxy. Their strength, speed, and enhanced senses made them formidable foes, able to cut through entire armies with ease. The Council believed the Warbringers were the ultimate weapon, capable of wiping out any resistance in their path. The Xoric fleet arrived in Earth's orbit within hours, a swarm of sleek, heavily armed ships carrying their prized warriors. The Warbringers were deployed to the surface, landing at key locations around the world. They moved with the precision of a well-oiled machine, ready to wreak havoc on the human population. The Council believed that if they could eliminate Earth's military leaders and destroy their key infrastructure, the rest of humanity would crumble. But humanity had anticipated this move. While the world's attention had been focused on the alien fleet above, a different kind of war was taking place beneath the surface. For years, Earth had been quietly building something far beyond what the Council could comprehend. A covert weapon designed to neutralize any threat, even the Warbringers. Humanity's military leaders had anticipated that the Council would deploy their elite forces, and they had developed a new form of warfare that was as unpredictable as it was effective. Humanity's weapon wasn't a massive army, nor a fleet of superpowered ships. It was a strategy of mobility, stealth, and surprise. Small, specialized units of soldiers, highly trained in guerrilla warfare and advanced tactics, were deployed to counter the Warbringers. Armed with experimental technology that allowed them to blend seamlessly into their surroundings, these soldiers set up traps and ambushes, striking at the Warbringers with surgical precision. The Warbringers, accustomed to overpowering their enemies through sheer strength, found themselves caught off guard by the human soldiers' agility and cunning. What the Warbringers didn't know was that Earth had developed a new form of weaponry, biotech-based armor and nanotech explosives designed to disrupt their enhanced physiology. These weapons targeted the very genetic modifications that made the Warbringers so powerful, weakening them from the inside out. With each encounter, the Warbringers found themselves losing their advantage. Their strength and speed were no match for the ingenuity and adaptability of human forces. As the Warbringers were slowly picked off, the alien fleet above Earth began to lose its composure. The humans had dealt a serious blow to the Council's most prized warriors, and the rest of the fleet was left wondering how they could possibly defeat an enemy who was so unpredictable, so difficult to counter. The human strategy was simple yet devastating. No single battle could decide the war, but 1,000 small victories could chip away at the Council's forces, weakening them over time. The Council's commanders watched in horror as their elite forces were slowly dismantled. The Xoric Warbringers, once thought to be invincible, were falling one by one, their strength useless against the humans' tactical brilliance. The Council had expected to crush humanity with raw power, but they had forgotten one crucial element. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology or brute force. It was their ability to adapt, to think outside the box, to turn the tide of battle when it seemed impossible. And now the Council knew, too late, that they had underestimated the true nature of humanity. You said. The battlefield in space was quiet now, eerie in its stillness as the remnants of the once mighty Galactic Council's fleet struggled to regroup. Their colossal ships limped back into the void, nursing damage from humanity's unexpected and devastating counterattacks. The Warbringers, once thought to be the pinnacle of military might, had been systematically neutralized by humanity's small, highly efficient strike teams. In the wake of these losses, confusion reigned within the Council. Their enemies were not what they had expected. Humanity was not folding. They were not crumbling under pressure. They were fighting back in ways that defied every expectation. A rare urgent transmission was broadcast across the galaxy from an anonymous source within the Galactic Council. The message was clear. Humanity's response was no accident. Earth had something hidden, something the Council had missed entirely. On Earth, this message set the stage for a quiet but profound shift. A confidential meeting took place between Earth's highest-ranking officials and their most brilliant minds, scientists, engineers, military strategists. In the room, tensions were high, but the tone was resolute. Humanity had just shown the galaxy that they could fight and win, but they hadn't yet revealed their most potent weapon. A senior diplomat, a figure known for his calm demeanor and sharp intellect, stood before the assembled leaders. His voice carried weight as he spoke, announcing what no one had dared mention openly until now. It is time to show them what we've been preparing. Across the globe, secure networks hummed to life. In classified facilities hidden beneath deserts, mountains, and oceans, humanity's true asset was unveiled: Quantum Entanglement Protocol. A secret technology humanity had been developing in tandem with their traditional weapon systems for decades, a technology that had the potential to disrupt the fabric of space-time itself. Earth had discovered how to bend the rules of the universe. While the rest of the galaxy operated under the illusion that humanity's technology was still catching up, the humans had secretly mastered quantum manipulation and the creation of unstable energy fields. These capabilities were well beyond anything the Council could have fathomed. Using quantum computing, they had developed devices that could tap into multiple dimensions of space, allowing them to control energy, matter, and even time on a local scale. The first use of this technology was not seen by the rest of the galaxy. Instead, Humanity had secretly activated a series of dimensional rifts, each capable of displacing alien ships and weapons from their intended targets. The alien fleet, in a desperate attempt to regroup and reorganize, found that their communications were scrambled, their weapons malfunctioning, and their ships misaligned in space. What had once been a coordinated offensive now turned into chaos as the Council's forces struggled to maintain control. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the news of their triumph spread like wildfire. Except this was not their victory yet. It was a calculated gamble. The diplomatic channels, always open, were flooded with messages from various factions within the Galactic Council. The humans had to be stopped now. But there was a deep division within the Council. As much as they wanted to retaliate, a growing number of voices began to question the wisdom of continuing their assault. What if humanity had already surpassed them? What if this was a glimpse into a power they could not control? A leading diplomat from the Council, a once staunch proponent of the war, contacted Earth directly, breaking protocol in the process. This wasn't an order, it was a plea. The message was simple, its tone urgent but resigned. "We need to talk," the diplomat said. "What you've shown us, we've never seen anything like it. The war is no longer in our hands. You hold the balance of the galaxy now. We need to understand why." The message sent shockwaves across Earth's leadership. Was this a trick? A trap? Or was it something more? They knew they were sitting on a technological leap that could not be unseen. The human leadership, however, did not react with fear or suspicion. Instead, they were prepared to offer the most shocking revelation of all. Humanity had not only the technology to stop the Galactic Council, they had the power to reshape the galaxy. A summit was arranged, a fragile ceasefire in the making. The diplomat who had reached out was allowed to enter human space, and in a secured chamber deep beneath the surface of Earth, humanity would finally reveal their greatest secret to the galaxy. The Council would learn what the humans had discovered, the true nature of their power, the quantum weapon they had perfected, and a piece of technology that could change the very rules of existence itself. The galaxy would never be the same again. The ceasefire between Earth and the Galactic Council was fragile, a brief window of uncertainty during which the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The diplomat who had initiated the contact was escorted to Earth under heavy guard, though it was clear that humanity held the upper hand. On Earth's surface, humanity's leaders gathered in secret, preparing for the most important moment of their history. The diplomat's arrival would mark the beginning of a new chapter in the galactic order, but it was a moment fraught with risk. The rest of the galaxy was watching, uncertain whether humanity would use its newfound power to negotiate or to dominate. The human government had already decided. The galaxy, as it stood, was built on old systems of power, systems based on age-old treaties, trade routes, and military might. But humanity had a different vision for the future, one that did not include the Galactic Council's outdated leadership. The time had come for the Council to acknowledge humanity's role in shaping the new era of the galaxy. They would either accept this shift or face the consequences. The diplomat, an alien of cold and calculating demeanor, was escorted to a secure facility in the heart of Earth's capital. There, he was greeted by Earth's top diplomats and military commanders, including the President of the United Earth Coalition. The chamber was vast, surrounded by towering walls of transparent material that allowed the ocean beyond to shimmer in the light. It was a room meant for negotiation, but the stakes were unlike anything the diplomat had ever encountered. "You've proven your point," the diplomat began, his voice steady but laced with an undercurrent of nervousness. "Humanity is a force to be reckoned with, but you must understand, the Council is not a single entity. It is a collective, and its decisions affect billions of lives across the galaxy. If we accept your demands, the galaxy will not be the same. Everything we know will change." The President of the United Earth Coalition met his gaze with calm assurance. "Change is inevitable," they said, their voice firm. "What we're offering isn't just a shift in power. It's an opportunity for a new era. The Council's reign has been based on fear, dominance, and secrecy. Humanity offers something different. We offer cooperation, progress, and a future built on shared knowledge. The diplomat's expression darkened. He knew that such a shift would destroy the long-standing structures that had kept the galaxy in balance for centuries. His next words were measured, but the underlying frustration was palpable. "And what of the weapon you've developed? The one that has disabled our ships, our weapons, our fleets? What else can you do with it?" The president's expression remained unchanged. "We haven't shown you all of it. Yet." With that, a subtle hum filled the room. The air seemed to thicken as if reality itself was bending. The human delegates watched the diplomat with a quiet intensity, their eyes fixed on the holographic screens that began to flicker to life in the center of the chamber. As the screens activated, the diplomat's eyes widened, and his body tensed. In an instant, a massive rift opened in space above the table, a rip in the fabric of reality that spanned the room. The diplomat stared at it in stunned disbelief. The rift shimmered with an eerie, swirling energy, displaying images from across the galaxy, from star systems far beyond the reach of any human ship. The space-time fabric was bending, warping, and within moments, entire star systems were being shown in vivid clarity on the screen as if they were right outside the room. "This is what we can do," the president said softly. "This is the technology we have mastered. We can manipulate the very structure of the galaxy itself, move entire fleets, bend light and energy, collapse stars, or prevent them from ever exploding. The quantum field technology we've developed allows us to reshape reality on a scale unimaginable to you." The diplomat could hardly speak. The implications of such power were beyond his comprehension. If humanity could control space and time itself, the Galactic Council would have no means to oppose them. Not only could they annihilate entire fleets, but they could also reshape the universe at will, shifting the balance of power forever. "We do not wish to destroy," the president continued, "but we cannot allow an old system of control to continue. The galaxy needs a new order, one of peace, exploration, and shared knowledge. This is the choice before you. Accept a new way of cooperation, or face the consequences of resisting it." The diplomat's mind raced. There was no denying the humans' power. He had seen it firsthand, their ability to manipulate the most fundamental laws of the universe. But he also understood that if the Galactic Council resisted, they would be torn apart by a force they could not even hope to fight. As he pondered, the president's gaze softened, and they added, "This is our offer. The future of the galaxy is in your hands now. Do you accept the change, or will you continue to fight what is inevitable?" The diplomat took a deep breath. The universe had shifted, and the council now had to decide how they would navigate the new reality humanity had presented. There was no turning back. The galaxy stood at a precipice, caught between the remnants of the old order and the dawning reality that humanity had ushered in. The decision now rested in the hands of the Galactic Council, but the course they would choose was uncertain. Earth had shown them an unimaginable power, one that could reshape not only their galaxy, but potentially the fabric of existence itself. The president of the United Earth Coalition's words had been clear. Humanity was offering a new path, one based on cooperation, exploration, and peace. But that offer came with an implicit threat. Their technology could bend the laws of nature, reshape the stars, or unmake whole civilizations if necessary. As the diplomat returned to the remnants of the council fleet, a storm of deliberation raged within the council's chambers. The once unified assembly of leaders now fractured under the weight of humanity's demands. Those who had long held power were in a panic, scrambling to understand how they could maintain any semblance of control. Others, less tied to the old systems, saw this as an opportunity to embrace the future, to forge a new path alongside humanity. But the tension was palpable. Some council members called for an immediate retaliatory strike against Earth. They insisted that humanity's power could not be allowed to remain unchecked, that Earth had to be subjugated before their influence spread any further. But others, notably a faction of alien species who had long been on the fringes of the Council, saw the wisdom in a different course. They argued that humanity's technological leap could be the catalyst for a new era of collaboration. If the humans were capable of reshaping space-time itself, perhaps they could also help the galaxy transcend its endless cycles of war and resource scarcity. To fight them now would be suicide. One of the more pragmatic leaders, a being from the Olinter system, spoke up in the council meeting. We cannot defeat them, but we can learn from them. Join them. We could build a galaxy beyond the petty squabbles of the past. The debate raged on for hours, each faction pulling in different directions. At its heart, the Council's internal war reflected a deeper struggle, one between the old powers that had held the reins for millennia and the new, rising force of humanity that threatened to eclipse them all. On Earth, humanity waited. The diplomatic team, led by the president, knew the importance of the moment. They had shown their power, but they had not yet secured their place in the galaxy. They had done what was necessary to prove that they could hold their own, but they also understood that there would be no lasting peace without mutual understanding and trust. They had no desire to dominate the galaxy. They had simply outgrown the old system, and they were offering the Council a chance to join them in building something new. We are not conquerors, the president had stated during the meeting with the diplomat. We offer this galaxy the chance to grow, to evolve, but we will not wait forever for those who are afraid of change. The Council was divided. Factions once allied now found themselves at odds, struggling to maintain unity in the face of humanity's challenge. In the hours after the ceasefire was called, those that had favored negotiation began reaching out to Earth, sending envoys of their own to discuss terms, to learn more about the human technology that could reshape the future. But it wasn't just the Council that had to make a decision. As word of humanity's power spread, more and more species began to question their place in the galaxy. The once untouchable power structures, built on the fear of war and domination, were starting to crumble. Smaller factions, independent systems, and even neutral parties were beginning to send their own emissaries to Earth. Some offered alliances, while others sought to establish trade agreements, or at the very least, to ensure their survival in this new, uncertain age. The galaxy was no longer a simple place. With humanity's emergence as a galactic power, everything was up for reconsideration. Would the old powers yield to humanity's offer of a cooperative future, or would they try to resist, attempting to maintain the status quo with dwindling resources and increasingly outmoded methods? As Earth prepared for the next phase of negotiations, their leaders knew that they had the upper hand. Yet they also understood the gravity of their position. Humanity's technology was extraordinary, but it would take more than force to build the future they envisioned. The galaxy had to be healed, unified, reformed from within. Humanity's greatest weapon had been its capacity for adaptability, its unyielding determination, and the relentless pursuit of progress. But in this moment, it would take patience, diplomacy, and vision to forge a new path forward. The Council's final decision was on the horizon. The galaxy waited with bated breath, and humanity was ready to lead. But the question remained, would the galaxy follow? The Council's decision came quietly, but it rippled through the galaxy like a shockwave. After days of heated debate, conflicting reports, and strategic maneuvering, the Galactic Council made its choice. They could not ignore the inevitable reality of humanity's power. The once untouchable beings who had ruled the galaxy for eons were now humbled, forced to confront the fact that their old ways were obsolete. They could either yield to humanity's vision of the future or risk extinction in a galaxy that had already begun to change. The message came in the form of an encrypted transmission to Earth's government. The Council had agreed to humanity's terms, but not without their own conditions. The galaxy would undergo a radical restructuring, but the process would take time. It would require humanity's leadership, yes, but also the cooperation of the Council's remaining powers to ensure a smooth transition. The Council, in turn, would offer humanity the resources, knowledge, and allies they needed to usher in this new era, but only if humanity agreed to respect certain safeguards to preserve the balance of power for all sentient beings. On Earth, the leaders of the United Earth Coalition gathered once more. The weight of the decision hung heavily in the room. It was a victory, yes, but it was not an easy one. The Council's agreement was a testament to humanity's ability to adapt, to fight, and to lead. However, this new era would not be free from challenges. It would require diplomacy, wisdom, and vigilance to build a lasting peace. The President of the United Earth Coalition addressed the gathering with a calm determination. We have proven that humanity is not to be underestimated. We have shown the galaxy that we are capable of standing against the most powerful forces in existence. But our real work begins now. This galaxy will not be rebuilt overnight, and it will not be without resistance. There will be those who fight the change, those who believe that the old order must remain. We must be prepared for that. The President's words resonated with the room. The diplomats, scientists, and military leaders gathered knew that this was not the end. This was just the beginning of a monumental transformation. In the days that followed, the Galactic Council and Earth began to hammer out the details of their new alliance. While the larger powers within the Council still held significant sway, humanity was granted a seat at the table, an equal partner in shaping the galaxy's future. Earth was no longer an isolated world, but a beacon of change, an example of what could happen when a species refused to be bound by the constraints of the past. But even as these new alliances were forged, there were those who resisted. Factions within the Council that had once ruled through fear and dominance now found themselves grappling with the reality of their diminishing influence. Some tried to sow discord, to undermine humanity's rise. The war, in a sense, was not yet over. However, humanity had proven something far more dangerous to the old powers than any weapon they could possess: their resilience. Humans were adaptable, inventive, and unwilling to bow down to tyranny. The galaxy had underestimated Earth, and now, as they sought to lead, they were determined not to make the same mistake again. In time, humanity's influence began to spread. Colonies were established on distant planets, scientific alliances were forged, and trade routes expanded. Human technology, far beyond anything the galaxy had seen before, began to drive a new era of progress. And yet, humanity did not take the path of domination. They made it clear to the galaxy that their power was not meant to control, but to inspire and collaborate. The first interstellar summit of the new galactic order was held on Earth's homeworld, in a massive orbital station that encircled the planet. Representatives from countless worlds arrived, eager to meet the humans who had dared to change everything. The summit was not just a political event. It was a symbol of the transformation that was underway. For the first time in galactic history, the various factions were not gathering to discuss war, but to discuss peace, innovation, and the future. As the summit began, the President stood before the assembly, their voice steady and confident. The galaxy has changed, but this is not the end of our journey. It is only the beginning. Together, we will forge a future where cooperation, knowledge, and exploration replace fear, domination, and control. We have seen what we can achieve when we work together. And this is just the beginning. The room erupted in applause, a new sense of hope filling the air. The Council, the once untouchable rulers of the galaxy, now stood alongside humanity as equals, partners in the creation of a future that was unknown, yet filled with potential. As the leaders of the galaxy looked to the stars, they saw a new dawn rising, not the cold, distant light of war and conquest, but the warm glow of unity and progress. Humanity had changed everything, not through force, but through their relentless will to survive and their unshakable belief that the future could always be better. The galaxy had been reshaped, and for the first time in centuries, the future was something they could all shape together.